In a world grappling with a climate crisis, some of the most innovative solutions aren't being built in a lab. Nope, they're being grown, kind of like a forest. Today, we're going to explore a living, breathing policy in Cambodia, a story of how one nation is turning its most vital ecosystems into a powerful tool for climate action.
So let's set the scene. Our story begins with a pretty big challenge. Between 2010 and 2018, Cambodia saw its vast, vibrant forests shrink at a really alarming rate. And we're not just talking about trees here. These forests are critical carbon sinks, absolutely essential for regulating the global climate, and they were under enormous pressure. In response, Cambodia didn't just aim for small, incremental changes. No way. It set this landmark goal to slash its greenhouse gas emissions by an incredible 42% by 2030. And it's even got a long-term strategy for carbon neutrality by 2050. I mean, this wasn't just a promise, it was a truly ambitious target.
But you've got to ask, how does a developing nation even begin to finance something that massive? Well, the answer started with planting a seed, an idea from the international community called REDD+. But as we're about to see, the initial approach was a little wild and untamed.
So, what exactly is REDD+? Well, simply put, it's a framework that creates a financial value for keeping forests standing. It's a pathway for countries to protect their natural resources and, at the same time, generate funding by selling carbon credits. It's a way to make conservation pay for itself.
The problem was, the early REDD+ efforts were a bit like planting trees without a plan. You had all these different projects, all with great intentions, but they were using different tools, different ways of measuring success. This led to inconsistent accounting and a very real risk of double counting the emissions reductions. It was basically impossible to get an accurate picture of the country's total progress.
To solve this, Cambodia took a really revolutionary step. It decided to stop planting individual trees and start cultivating an entire policy ecosystem, a sophisticated, interconnected system designed to make every single conservation action count towards one national goal.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem, right? How do you connect the grassroots conservation efforts on the ground, the roots, with the national climate targets way up in the branches? How do you make sure everything is actually working together?
The solution, and this is the key idea here, is a concept called nesting. Think of it like the trunk of a great tree. It's a regulatory system that connects all the individual projects with a common set of rules for management and measurement. It ensures every leaf and every branch is part of a single, cohesive whole.
And this system is built on 4 really solid pillars. You have the national strategy, which sets the direction. There's a reference level to benchmark emissions. You've got a high-tech monitoring system to track all the changes. And finally, a safeguard system to protect both the environment and local communities. It is a truly comprehensive architecture.
And something this complex didn't just pop up overnight. As this timeline shows, it was carefully cultivated. Starting with workshops way back in 2018, it grew through years of design and development before officially launching in 2021. This was a very deliberate, step-by-step process.
So, you might be wondering, how does a new project get on board? Well, there's a super clear, transparent process. Any new conservation effort has to go through these 5 steps, which make sure it aligns perfectly with the national framework from day one and actually strengthens the entire system.
Okay, so with this robust, healthy policy ecosystem firmly in place, Cambodia's forests started getting a whole new kind of attention, this time from the global carbon market. Turns out, a strong system is like a magnet for serious investment. And here's the really crucial part. This whole nesting thing, it acts as a guarantee. I mean, think about it. If you're a company looking to buy carbon credits, you want to know they're legit, right? This system is basically a stamp of quality. It proves the emissions reductions are real, they're accurately measured, and they're not being double counted. It provides the high integrity that the market is screaming for.
And believe me, that demand is exploding. Just look at the growth in the voluntary carbon market for REDD+. It went from around 20 million tons in 2018 to nearly 100 million in 2021. That's a huge jump. Companies are actively looking for high-quality, nature-based solutions, and Cambodia is now perfectly positioned to provide them. This isn't just a trend, by the way, it's a corporate strategy. You have giants like Amazon publicly stating that they will prioritize investments in projects that are nested within these larger government programs. They see it, correctly, as a sign of higher quality and lower risk.
And the results?
They're already rolling in. Get this, even before the nesting system was fully operational, existing REDD Plus projects in Cambodia had already pulled in around $12 million in conservation finance, and that's from huge companies like Disney, Shell, and Gucci. This is real-world proof that the approach works.
So where does all this go from here? What does the future hold for this pioneering policy? Well, it's not just about Cambodia's future anymore. It's about creating a potential blueprint for forests all around the globe.
Right now, Cambodia is in what it calls the early nesting stage, integrating projects for the voluntary market. But the path forward is clear. The next stage is full nesting, and that's going to allow the country to engage in new international markets, including those under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. We're talking about opening doors to even greater levels of global cooperation and finance.
And that leaves us with one last powerful question. Cambodia has shown that it's possible to cultivate a complex national policy ecosystem that aligns local action with global goals. So can this model, so carefully grown in the forests of Southeast Asia, become a seed of inspiration for protecting vital ecosystems all across our planet?